Welcome back to the Pursuit of Property podcast. Today we've got on the Guru's Guru, our close friend, business owner, entrepreneur, the boy Stratt Daddy, Stratton Brown.
Thank you.
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, and I am your guru's guru. My vibration is too high to get sick.
Yes. I am not in that class.
Oh, you're on your way. You just need to get some tint in those glasses.
Some tint? Okay.
Some tint. All right, can I take these bitches off now?
Of course. So we're having a repeat guest here with Stratton. Stratton has been one of our good friends since the beginning of the business, and just recently had his 27th birthday, setting milestones for us on where we need to be in the next few years. Stratton, we wanted to have you on really just to kind of talk about what you're doing these days and some of this big stuff that you have coming out right now.
Dude, I mean, so we got obviously Call Magicians. We have Clockwork Media, that's like our production social media company.
Uh-huh.
And then we have, what else? Our wholesaling company, our buy and hold portfolio. Nothing crazy. One of our rentals burned down the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where at?
Bakersfield. That's why.
Really? When you called me?
The house I asked you to list, a week later, the motherfucker burned it down.
Wow.
Well, no, I mean, it's just burnt out. Hopefully, we make more money just from the insurance proceeds.
Right. But that's going to take 6 months.
Right. Well, it's going to take a fucking, 18 months, bro. It's going
Right.
to take forever. Just like with all the, you got to go through the government and all that bullshit. So that's going to be a pain. But at least the dude's out of there.
Yeah.
And we can keep on going. But, yeah.
You got a guy in there who started it and just freaking throwing matches in there or what?
Bro, we don't know. So I get a letter from code enforcement saying like, hey, bitch, pay up. Your house looks like shit. And I was like, I ain't going down there till that motherfucker's out of there. So yeah, you guys can keep sending me these letters. Like, I ain't going down there. This motherfucker's crazy.
Okay.
We sent a dude down there and he got chased by the dude with a machete.
Oh my gosh.
And
Was this a lease to own?
Yeah, this was the lease to own.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I mean, you guys can say I need to go down there, but you can go fuck off.
Right, I'm not going to go down there and
I'm
get attacked.
not going to go down there and get attacked. I'm not going to send my contractors down there to go get attacked.
Okay.
And so they're like, and he was like, okay, I get it. And then I get another letter. I was like, hey, bro, I thought we were on the same page. And then, so we sent a contractor down there to go lock it out. And the contractor missed the fucking lockout date. And so then we did get a lockout after we'd been trying to for over a year. Because our contractor was 15 minutes late and the sheriff's department left.
Wow.
And so now, but then after that, code enforcement just condemned the house and ripped off my panel. Because they trashed it so bad.
Wow.
And then eventually just a fire started.
Wow. Okay. So we dove right into the deep end.
Yeah.
Let's go back a little bit here. We have a lot of new listeners since season 1 when you jumped on. Let's kind of cover a little bit about, who Stratton Brown is, how you got into the business, and maybe we can work our way up to now, Call Magicians, the marketing company, and how you've gotten to where you're at.
So I was born a guru.
Really?
Yeah, I was born a guru in March 8th, 1995 is when the original guru came to life.
Yeah.
Okay.
You came out in the teal tracksuit ready to go.
I came out in the tracksuit. I had to find the gold fanny pack, but
right.
I came out in the tracksuit with my... You see these dope bands?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the nurse handed those to me when I got out. But
And the Ray-Bans, those came at the same time too?
No, I had to earn the Ray-Bans.
Gotcha.
I had to earn the Ray-Bans.
Gotcha.
Bro.
But no.
They kill me. They flew you out to Italy straight out of the womb to get them straight from the source. True Ray-Bans.
Okay, but on a serious note, I'm from Bluffdale, Utah. It was a really, really small town, like a stoplight, and I grew up there. In high school, I played sports kind of all the time growing up, and then when I was 13. My dad had I loved skateboarding. My dad had an honest conversation with me. I was like, hey, bro, either you're going to watch sports or you're going to be a part of sports. You got to kind of quit skateboarding. Because up until that point in time, I don't know if you guys know who Nigel Houston is.
No.
He's the best skateboarder who's ever lived. And he's my age. And he was sponsored for skateboarding when he was 8 years old.
Wow.
So he was legit when he was 8 years old. That's what I wanted to be. Then I started taking sports a little bit more seriously. And I ended up playing on USA's junior national rugby team throughout high school. And I ended up getting scholarships in 3 different sports coming out of high school in rugby, track, and football. Ended up taking football because I thought, that would be the best fit for me. And then from there, I went to Snow College. And then at Snow College, I was only there for a semester. And then I got an offer from Utah, Fresno State. But Utah wanted me to wait to come because all the credits I was taking were bullshit. Like, bro, we can't take these classes. You got to wait another year.
Okay.
And then Fresno State called me. I'm like, hey, we'll take your bullshit classes. And I'll loop back into that afterwards. But I was okay, awesome. At this point in time, my apartment had been raided because one of my roommates was selling drugs. And so I was like, oh, I got to get out of here. Like, there's nothing good that is going to come from this. Like, 'cause if you can make it out of a junior college, you're legit. I promise you'll be successful in life. Just like all the nonsense and tomfoolery and like, you have no support system. You're pretty much supposed to go out there and play football for free, bet on yourself, which is a really big thing. Because if you get hurt in JUCO, you're fucked. Like, you're just not going anywhere because they don't have like training staff that can help you revamp and actually get back. And then the team's gonna look at you like, oh yeah, you had this injury. Like, we don't want you. We'll go get like someone else. So I do that because my apartment got raided. I was like, man, I probably should get out of here. Like, I don't see this going well. And so I go to Fresno State. And then at Fresno State, I was all conference my senior year, 17th in the country in tackles. I didn't play really at all for the first 3 years. I only played like serious time my senior year. And then after that, I tried out for the Seahawks. Nothing came from that. And when I was my senior year, like, you couldn't tell me I wasn't going to go to the NFL and like be legit. And I had this conversation with my defensive coordinator, and he was like, Stratt, and he's put out 11 first round draft picks at just DB.
Wow.
Damn.
Like, so he's legit. Like, he coached Davian Clowney, Melvin Gordon. He was South Carolina's defense coordinator for a while. He was like, in all honesty, bro, you will be a practice squad and a special teams guy. And like, this dude's like my dad at this point. He's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, bro, I've seen some guys. Athletically, you're not there. Like, you work harder than anybody I know. You're really smart, but it's sometimes like you just can't will yourself to be that good. I was like, okay. So I went into the draft like knowing that, didn't get picked up, but like, I'm thinking like, all right, I'm going to go for 1 year. I'll make $400,000. Maybe like if I can get like a 3-year career at practice squad and I can make like $500,000 a year, like I'll be set. So I was like listening to all these like different investing books. And so I was like, bro, my senior year, I was partying my ass off, right? I mean, it's just college. You're having a good time. You're good at sports. That's what you do. And then one of my friends went to the Chiefs and he was with Travis Kelce. And like, Travis Kelce made $80,000 his first year in a signing bonus and he blew it all that year on partying. I was like, oh, wow. So this is what I'm going into.
Yeah.
So I need to protect myself from myself because, like, if I'm going to do this shit, I'm really going to do this shit. I'm going to have a budget for partying, but I need to be able to invest my money. So I started listening to, like, Grant Cardone, Dave Ramsey, Bigger Pockets, all that shit. And so, like, I get back from Seattle, and it didn't work out. And I was like, all right, either I can wait another year to get another shot at doing something that I probably won't be able to do, like, just to get a shot to do it. And I weighed the amount of hard work it would take to get there as to compared to like starting some type of a career. And so it's okay, I think starting a career is better. I kind of want to get into real estate. So I started like a home inspection business, was my first business.
Okay.
And I did like one mock inspection on the rental I was living in and I had to go through the crawl space and I was like, I'm never doing this shit. And this is after like 4 months of training to become a certified home inspector.
Oh my gosh.
Holy crap.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm not doing this. And during that entire time, I was going to all these real estate meetups, and then I met Alan Folio. And Alan, like, one day, like, we met him over just off of Herndon and First.
Okay.
And there was a meetup over there. And this was the first time I met him, and he was just talking. He was like, yeah, man, I used to drive a tractor for like 20 or 30 grand a year, and I make $200,000 a month. I was like, what? Serious? Yeah. He's like, I don't want to buy a jet like Grant Cardone, and I own 60 rentals. Oh, that's cool. And like, I got his number, didn't really think much of it. And then after I got back from Seattle and the home inspection thing didn't work out, I just hit him up. I was like, bro, what do you do again? He was like, oh, go knock all these doors until someone tells you they want to sell their house. Like, okay. I'm like, say anything? I was like, yeah, just ask them if they want to sell. So I got Property Radar, and I went and I knocked every single door for an entire summer from dusk till dawn. So much that my girlfriend thought I was cheating on her while she was pregnant. What I would do is just wake up, get in the car, and go. And try and get someone to sell me their house. And so that was like my first foray into real estate. And then eventually I was working for him. Started, when my son was born, his mom was, me and Zeno were spending a lot more time together. And so I'd have to take Zeno with me to go door knock.
Uh-huh.
And then when I wasn't doing that, I'd be driving for dollars with Mojo on the go.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would pause, wait, look up the property, add it to my phone, and I'd still be cold calling at the same time while my son was in the back, so he would be quiet. So that's what I was doing. Then eventually I started working for Alan full time. Then we built out like an in-house call center. I ended up running a lot of his marketing and acquisitions. And then eventually I broke off on my own. So that was like my foray into real estate. And then I went broke when I went off on my own.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Why have I heard this story before?
Why haven't you?
No, I have. I've heard not from you, but most people I know. What happened there?
I was like, yeah, Alan, I didn't want to do this shit on my own with no savings in my account, no money to market. Right? So like I was like, yeah, I can do this shit on my own, but then like you obviously need to burn the boats, but you need to do it with an actual plan. Like
right.
With my personality type, right? It's like just fucking get up and go and like, oh, we'll figure it out. So yeah, we're gonna figure it out, but I'm a single dad with a kid. I have to end up selling everything I have to pay my rent. I have to go donate blood every 2 weeks just to get marketing money. And like, so I donate blood just to get money to like text or cold call or like pay for whatever softwares I needed. And then eventually like I sold one deal to Jason for like $5,000. And Jason changed my life with that because he honestly, like he scathed the way with that bitch. Cause like that thing, he shouldn't have even paid me for it. And I was like, hey bro, do you want this? I was like, I need someone to take this. He's like, yeah, I'll take it. We show up. He was like, bro, this thing is trashed. And so he bought it and put it right back on the market. And then some other dude bought it. And then Jason ended up buying another one. That dude who bought it, Jason ended up buying one of his flips that was on the market that he had to fire sell when COVID hit.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was January, and then I didn't make any money again until August.
Wow. I don't think I've ever heard this full detailed version. I think every time you and I have talked about your history, we kind of brushed over it because there's a lot of similarity, but there's a lot of differences too. So you jumped in with Alan. Mm-hmm. When you went to Alan, you had no skills to begin with?
I mean, zero skills.
Like, were you already pretty good at talking? Were you already as confident as you are? Were you already knowledgeable on real estate? Because I think that's a lot of limiting stuff that other people deal with, but I mean,
I listen to a lot of podcasts and like books, like consuming as much information as possible.
Okay.
But I mean, so when I worked for Alan for like a year, I was with Alan like every day. So I got like a master's degree, like a triple master's degree in real estate from Alan Folio, from being with him every single day, learning everything, hearing him negotiate deals, we're going to tenants, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm just with him. And then like 6 months into it, then I go, okay, now like I'm start working in the office and doing that stuff. But like that's what really got me up to it. But the only reason I even got time with Alan is because I went and door knocked for like 3 months and just didn't stop. I was like, hey bro, I got somebody. I was like, oh sweet. Gotcha. That's the only reason like I got any of his time.
So you led by, before you got any of his time, he told you go knock on doors till you find somebody. That summer that you were door knocking, you weren't working with Alan directly. You were working to find a lead for Alan.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then when you brought the lead, then Alan said, okay, now let's talk.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm so big on time and people think I'm such an asshole for it. But like,
well, you had just posted something about that on your IG the other day. Why don't you recap what you posted?
So this dude, and to no fault of his own, he was like, can I have 15 minutes to pick a quick 15-minute phone call to pick your brain? And nothing irritates me more than that phrase, to pick your brain. I think it's the worst thing you could ever say to anybody. And I was like, all right, number one, never say pick your brain. Number two, when you come to somebody and ask for their time, have a definitive purpose and have a series of questions lined out so they know exactly how they can help you. Because if you just want to hop on the phone and shoot the shit, I'm not going to do that. Like, I know you want to get to know me, but like there's plenty of podcasts where you could. So there's that, and then what was the next thing? And then like my time priority were as follows. I could be having sex with my girlfriend. I could be making more money. I could be playing with, sex with my girlfriend, playing with my son, helping our companies grow, helping someone else who actually knows what they need help with. And
or somebody that's bringing value or providing value to you, just like you did get started.
And so like you still want to provide value, but I was like, bro, like when you approach it completely differently. Like, don't say, like, I'm going to be big someday, I'll be able to provide value later. Like, no, I don't give a fuck about value later.
That was the part of the text that killed me.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, like, bro, like, I get it. I love your confidence, but I don't care about fucking value later. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe I missed out on the next Elon Musk, who knows? But I was like, dude, like, I need value now. Because the only thing I will never get back is my time. And then I put this in perspective. I met a dude at a mastermind I was at, And he has a split relationship. So I just dropped off Zeno with his mom. This isn't even my week with Zeno. She was like, hey, can you go pick up Zeno from school? I got to do something. I was like, yeah. But I only get to see my son for half of his life. Think about that. So I only get to see my son for half of his life now. And then, so in all reality, after he's 13, he's like, man, fuck dad. I want to go have sex with girls and do drugs. Like, I want to go, like, do stuff. So I only get, what is that, like 6-7 years with my son that are, like, formative years with my son during his life. And that's all. And you want me to take my time to, like, hop on the phone with you to do what? If you have a definitive purpose, for sure. But if there's no definitive purpose, I can't help you.
So you led your real estate career with Alan. That's how you got in. And then you went off on your own and you experienced the struggles of being your own owner, right? And you start to realize this is why good real estate investors get paid so much, because...
And he warned me, too. He was like, bro, it's not all just, like, profits. He's like, and I was like, whatever, bro, I got this.
And what year was this, for perspective? What year was that?
I went off on my own. So I finished playing football in 2017. I went off on my own, like, 2018, 2019.
Yeah, 2019 was when I think I met you, and you were already off.
Yeah, so, like, mid-2018, 2019.
And then you went off on your own, and you experienced some heartache and some struggle. And then what did it look like when you started hitting some success again?
I don't know. One thing that's hard is that if you have the right mindset, like you're already there. And like your lifestyle really doesn't change. Because right now with the amount of money I make, my lifestyle will not change until I'm making multiple millions. Like, I mean, you know what it's like to where, bro, I have all of my needs taken care of.
Right.
My car works. I eat whatever I want. Like, I could go eat at whatever restaurant I want every night, and it's not going to, and in Fresno, right? It's not like I'm flying somewhere, and it's not like it's going to absolutely kill me. I fly and I travel wherever I want. But, so nothing really, I'd say the only thing that changed is I didn't have to donate blood anymore. Yeah, I mean, that was big, because, like, I didn't like me and Jason are really big on, like, vibration and energy. I didn't like the energy of the place, because you're, like, with a bunch of people who are just not in the right vibration. And so, like, that was really hard for me. Because, like, I'd be in line with a bunch of homeless people, like, every morning at 5 a.m. to go donate blood. Just so I could be, like, the first one in, so I could get it over with. I didn't have to wait in line.
Right. And did you already have the mindset, or?
Alan did a really good job of programming my mind, I would say. I mean, I had the mindset, and, like, so, like, Bob Proctor, it killed me when he died earlier this year. I would say it was, like, my prophet of always being in the right vibration, monitoring your thoughts, and act as if. It's like shit. The dude we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Even though he's probably
there's truth to it.
There's a lot of truth to it of like acting as if. Even though he's super shitty, the ignorance gets you a long ways. Like you'd be amazed at the ignorance. If you just have ignorance and you think and you act as if, it'll get you somewhere. And then as I'm growing now, I try and think as if I was someone else. So, like, for a long time, like, DM's my mentor now. I'm like, what would Mark do? What would Jeff Bezos do? Yeah. Think as if you're them. Think as if you're a billionaire.
Yeah.
What would the billionaire do? Well, they'd probably cut off the limb because it doesn't make sense anymore. All right, then I'm doing that.
Okay.
If you don't have access to the person.
And out of all the stuff you got going around right now, you go on your own. Now you're kind of doing it on the fly, right? Trying to get everything together. What's the kind of the first of the companies you mentioned at the beginning? What's kind of the first thing to come to fruition? Wholesaling for sure. So wholesaling was number one, and I think it's, besides internet marketing is a really good way to make a lot of money really fast, but wholesaling's up there, right? Internet marketing, wholesaling, you can get really, really big chunks, and let's say it takes 90 days, but you're still making 20 grand. Like that 20 grand, not a lot of people get their hands a hold of like a 20 grand check like that. So that's really good. Wholesaling, and then we were doing a couple deals a month, and then we really ramped it up. And then eventually I ended up starting Call Magicians when COVID hit. Yeah. Because I'd went through so many different people, and they sucked, and I got fucked over for like $6 grand by another guy. And so I just was like, oh, whatever, we'll do it better ourselves. And so I brought it all in house, and then people just kept coming to me for VAs. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe I can get this thing to pay me like a couple grand a month.
Yeah. And so you started with wholesaling. That's where a lot of people start, because it seems to be one of the best ways to to get some cash quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you were like, this is great and all. Screw it, this is not sustainable, or what pushed you to like, I'm going to start the next business too?
Necessity, number one. Like, I wasn't like some genius. I was like, man, this sucks. Like, I hate going through all these people. Like, I'll just bring it in-house myself and we'll do it better.
Okay.
And then I wanted more cash flow. Like, one thing that no like wholesalers really talk about, like, bro, you'll have a $300,000 month, and I promise you one of those months you're probably going to make like 15. Like, that's just real estate.
Yeah.
But I wanted like more consistent cash flow. I was like, okay, yeah, like a service-based business, like we can get recurring revenue on a couple other things. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's what I envisioned.
Okay, so you start Call Magicians during COVID. What did that look like? Did you have experience running VAs already, or?
Yeah, I mean, so my entire business, most of the time, it's just been virtual assistants.
Really?
Like, I've always just had it set up to where I guess I'm lazy. Like, who, not how. Like, okay, well, I need a leads manager. Like, let's go hire him. I need someone to text. Let's go hire him. Like, as soon as like I can afford to do it, I do it. And then a lot of people talk about like investing in like real estate. I mean, real estate for me is depreciation and appreciation. And the cash flow is third. Because
Gotcha.
I have businesses that can make me cash flow.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? I can like, for something like that, to where like I was talking about, one of our companies makes us 6 figures a year already, and I made that in like 2 months.
Right.
Like, I can come up with the cash flow, but then when you're starting to make real money, how are you going to offset?
How do you protect
your
it?
income? Like, how do you protect it? Like, how do you diversify? How do you do all those things? So that's
Gotcha.
how I see like buying real estate now. The cash flow is just awesome still, but then still, like, if I'm making $1 million and I can offset that whole thing, that's what you're really happy with, because like it matters about the money you keep. It doesn't matter about the money you give away to Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
And wholesaling, you've got Call Magicians coming together. You get that in-house thing running, and the next thing that pops up, content, media.
Media, and that came out of that one came out of necessity too. Another dude was like charging me an arm and a leg. I was like, bro, you suck. And so like I had a dude in Call Magicians who was good at editing. And I don't know, like I was like, yeah, all right, you're good at that. Like, I need you to start like making this stuff. And then I don't know anything about any of it. I was like, all right, you're the new COO. Start hiring on people as we need it. And then now I think that company has like 8 employees. And that one, I mean, it'll do multiple 6 figures this year. I doubt it does 7. But that was all truly out of 100% necessity. And I was like, how can I cover this cost? Because I was like, if I'm going to do this, I might as well have like other people pay for it. I don't want it coming out of Call Magician's pocket. It's like, well, we can systemize it. And then when we systemize it, we can just use it as another service that we can sell.
Is that who was doing the meetup? The Dean, were those guys your guys who were doing the recording it with Dean and?
So Jake is my video guy, but so our media company handles like everything social media. So I put out close to like 1,000 pieces of content a month just for me alone.
Jeez.
And so they handle all of the editing, cutting. My podcast goes to them in the cloud. I don't touch it from there. It all just goes out. They cut it up, edit it, post it. And so that's what they handle. So yeah, this is a pretty good service. We should probably offer to other people.
Yeah.
So then you've got that. And then what about the stuff we were talking about right before we started this show? You got something coming out, actually already is out, that we were talking about.
Yeah, so I mean, courses, like the leadership course, I think one thing that nobody really sees and like, I guess I'm still in the real estate space. Nobody really talks about like leadership and like if you want to build like a true business. And the reason I don't like wholesaling as a forever business is because it's not sustainable, it's not scalable, and I cannot sell it. Like, I can't sell it out of multiple. That's the reason. Like, I was like, yeah, like we still do it, but is it my absolutely true main focus? No, like I can put the people in place and let it run and have it do its thing. But so the first course is like leadership. It's how you can lead a high level team virtually from thousands of miles away. And I mean, over the last year, like we have a lot of people in our companies, and it's been a pretty big learning experience. I mean, over my like entire sports career and everything else, I've been in like 55 different organizations. Like I counted. I was like, so like Little League, and every single sports team you're on is just a different organization. Because like you're led by a different person, and usually the teams who suck, the leader's really bad. And so like as you learn all those things as a child, you just don't think of it. So I'd say that was the only skill I got coming out of college was leadership skills. I wouldn't say communication was very big.
Okay.
Across all your companies, do you have an approximate number of how many employees you got, and then how many are virtual?
Everyone's virtual.
How do you know how many?
Over 100. Everyone's virtual.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yes and no. Don't ever. Having that many employees is hard. I have a fucking HR department.
Yep.
For bullshit. For legit, like, to where, like, I do not want to hear about this. Like, we're paying you to fucking solve this. Like, I don't care. It doesn't drive me revenue.
Yeah.
And, like, we care about people. And, like, one of our number one core values is Care 360, but then still, like, you're dealing with 100 different fucking people. To where, I mean, that's one thing I never thought I'd be doing.
Yeah.
When we start another business, if I have 100 people, it'll be like a $500 million company. Just the heaviness of me learning about myself, the heaviness of HR, that's not what I like. To where, like, we have another business to where, with the one I was talking about earlier, I'll be able to take that thing to multiple millions with like 2 employees. A little bit easier.
Yeah. And so you've got all these things going on right now. The new leadership thing that's out. What's the next thing?
Dialing everything in. I mean, it never stops.
Yeah.
We'll release like the winner's circle, and that'll be like a coaching group that'll talk to people about like business, leadership, how to grow your top line. Because like we took Call Magicians to $1 million in revenue in 18 months with 0 advertising, only with my social media account. And so like we know something about like online advertising, creating a brand, and doing that. So helping people with all those things. So would be the next move, and then self-storage. I just lost. Over the last month, I lost $15,000 in just self-storage bullshit.
Can you explain?
Canceled EMD. Oh my God. I want to tell you the story. I'm so pissed about this story. All right. So I was just in Baton Rouge last week, 2 weeks ago. I was in Baton Rouge 2 weeks ago looking at a deal.
Okay.
And so this wholesaler in our mastermind sends it to us. Well, sends it to our coach. Our coach is like, hell yeah, this is a good deal. You should go do it. And then so my dumbass, we got the assignment, or we paid him a $100,000 assignment fee. I was like, cool. And it was a non-refundable EMD. I'm like, all right, that's fine. Like if our coach brought it to us and the dude's in our mastermind, he's not going to be a shady bitch or whatever.
Right.
So I get out there, and like we anticipated $100,000 in rehab. We get all our bids back from our contractors. Ends up being $300,000 in rehab, and he was trying to force us to close, but he was really just trying to pull it over on us and sell us a bad deal. He already knew like everything that was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, no, like we're not going to, like if we're gonna, because we were raising $500,000 just to do the deal. Like why would we put them in a bad situation like that? Like we got to be a good steward of other people's money. And you already knew all these things that we found out and you didn't disclose. So at this point, you're just shady as fuck. And
Right.
so we backed out and he kept our EMD.
Right.
I mean, cool, but I mean, to me, like you're shady because you tried to pull it over on us and put us in a bad situation.
Yeah.
So I lost $5,000 on that. I lost like $6,000 in like travel costs on that one because we got stuck in Baton Rouge and New Orleans for like a week.
Oh, crap.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because there was an ice storm in Dallas and there was no flights home. I had to take a $300 Uber from Baton Rouge to New Orleans just to get a flight out of there. Because like there was an ice storm in Dallas and everything shut down. And it was like the hub for American Airlines and no one could get flights. It was crazy. I got to go to Mardi Gras though.
That's kind of
Hey.
cool. That's pretty tight.
So that was pretty cool.
On the business.
On the business.
On the business.
Oh.
And then the other one was more travel cost and a phase 1 for a different facility that we're at in Texas that ended up just being not as good of a deal as we thought it would be, to where we didn't anticipate the Texas taxes. And again, that's a learning experience. Very
What was it,
expensive.
1.8?
No, it was a small deal, but like the Texas property taxes
Right.
are like 40th highest in America or something.
Yeah, I think, well, they vary between each county.
Yeah, but
And
it
even
was,
within the counties.
it killed the deal.
Yeah.
Like it's
Just the property taxes
the property
alone?
taxes, like
Oh,
to where
crap.
like we were buying like a marginal deal. Like, bro, just get on base. Is
Yeah.
like the thing I always say. Like, bro, it doesn't have to be a home run. Just hit base hits and you'll always win.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go like you can swing for the fences sometimes, but like at
Right.
least get on base, dude.
Right.
And so that was the plan, and then that happened. So like, so we ate the phase 1 costs and travel and costs on that, and so over the last 2 months, that kind of happened.
How many do you guys have any self-storage
No,
already?
Jesus Christ,
You guys not yet. Not yet.
Have you called Daryl?
You know that Brad lives next to him.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I didn't, bro. Daryl, I think me and Dean were talking about it, bro. The dude's cash flow's got to be like 7 to 8 figures a month.
Yeah, it's got to be ridiculous.
Like ridiculous. I mean, one of them's right here, right?
No, yeah, it's right up here, and then there's one right there, and there's one on Willow.
And you know, he goes all the way down to Bakersfield. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. I wanted to share. You and I were talking. I got into Call Magicians because I was at a meetup, and you and Dean and Jason were like, "Stop being a pansy. Stop doing everything. You can afford it. Don't be a baby." Even Adam Abajian pulled me aside and was like, "Stop being a baby." And Adam said it the nicest, and he was like, "Outsource." So I want to get it on record. I got into Call Magicians, and we paid the upfront fee, right? So the way you have it set up for when I joined, I paid a couple months in advance, which was helpful because my mindset was so scared about spending money that it was like, at least the money's gone now. Now you can't cry about it. It's already out of the bank account. And next week my first 2 deals close from the product, and I will net profit over 6 figures.
Hell yeah.
So
love to hear it.
I just wanted to put it out there. If you're looking for that business model, if you're looking to find motivated sellers, Call Magicians has been very successful in the first 90 days. And I've got 3 more signed contracts that are going to close in the next month. That they don't make me that much, but the first 2 deals that closed are making me 6 figures, over 6 figures in profit.
Love to hear it.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you pushing me.
One thing that, I mean, I try and always preach is like, bro, delegate. Because like everyone holds on to like so much shit, but you won't ever get anywhere. Because if we're doing everything, number one, we don't have any time to like do more. Because like the only thing that really matters, especially in your wholesaling business, is just acquisitions. And the rest of it, like you're buying back high quality time. Like you're just buying back your 8 hours every day. That's all you're doing when you're getting a cold caller, and then you'll sift it from there and dial it in. But that's all it is. But if you hold on to everything, bro, you're not going to get anywhere. You can be the hardest worker ever, but if you have no leverage anywhere, then you're not going to do anything. That's all it is. Like you're adding leverage onto what you're doing. Like for Call Magicians, legitimately, me and Chase were like, okay, we need this person. Let's just go find the person who knows how to do it. Because like I have no idea. Like I had no idea like how to actually like run a virtual company like this that's doing this. I know like the basics and the training, but then when it gets to all these other things, we went and found an HR guy, a legitimate HR guy. All right, it's your job. Handle that. Like I don't know. Like don't get me sued. All right, fine. All right, then we go find our COO. Like Glenn, our COO, managed 1,000 people at Alorica. So like we knew she knew something about leadership, and like call centers and everything else. Like we found her and like we put her in place and then like let her do her job. So where my big thing is, when you're new in business or the business is new, you're still a startup, and if you tell people that, they'll act accordingly. So if you're like, hey, we're a startup, like we expect you to like come up with new things and kind of like develop your job, then they have some initiative there. If you don't, you're just like holding on to them and you're micromanaging them, then they hate it. And if they go and they do things and create things on their own, they have a lot more buy-in because now it's like their company. They've created the systems and the processes. And like there's always a give and a take, and you have to check but verify. But that's a number one way. If you just implement that in your life of like the who, not the how, your growth will be exponential as far as business.
And for delegating, I've heard, a lot of people debate on whether they go one route, like maybe do it in-house like you guys did and then build something out, or immediately just go out and hire a company that's already set.
I don't think you should ever delegate. I don't think you should ever go to an outsourced company immediately because then you cannot verify.
That's what I was going to ask.
I've been cold calling for 3 years or 2 years. So I had some experience under my belt. That was one thing that was helpful was my scarcity of moving, or my inability to move along allowed me to get really, really good at like the low level stuff. And now when I'm on the coaching calls, like on Tuesdays that you hear me on, I can speak from a level of authority in the sense that like I have made tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of calls. And like, I know how I handled it, and it's still ingrained in me. Like, this is how I handle that script.
Exactly.
And I can tell when they're talking to me, I can tell which people are better than the others. And like, I can see, okay, this person is doing better because of these things. I think one thing, there's a level of like going too quick and too slow. I leaned on the too slow side.
I don't think it could ever be too slow unless your product is not good. Because, like, if you think of, like, let's say tech, it's never too quick. Like, if you really want exponential growth and everything else, like, it's good to be too like, I want too quick, and I'll fucking figure it all out. That's what business is. Because a lot of people will, when it's too slow and there's not enough margin, then you don't even have enough money to hire on the next person. Like, you want hyper growth. That's just my personal opinion. Being in both places.
Yeah. That's interesting. I've been wrong so many times too. I mean, honestly, I'm open to any suggestion. My thought was this.
But still know the skill. I'm not saying
I could have jumped probably a year earlier
for sure
and had this success a year ago, and I would be a lot happier about that jump, the timing wise. But like, I definitely, waiting that extra year, I still gained a lot of skills that definitely allowed, like you and I were talking right now, I'm seeing a lot of early success. 100% comes from the fact that I know what I'm doing once I get the leads.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You could spoon feed somebody with a caller more leads than they could handle if they have not been doing this for a period of time.
That's why we don't work with new people.
Right.
That's why we have that upfront fee the way we do. Like, so we can, like, qualify the person to know, like, all right, are we going to get the outcome that we both desire?
Right. Like, I gave you, like, whatever it was. Like, it was, like, $17,000 up front because I knew that, okay, that I, like, literally last year my average deal profit was $40,000. Like, literally I need to do one deal and I've earned it back. And then before, just short, I paid my first month up front last week on Saturday, but I closed 2 deals next week. I closed 3 actually next week.
Right.
So, you know, I knew that I was going to make that money back. It was an investment, but it's interesting because I think somebody who might not know those skills, they're not going to close on the deals, and they're especially not going to buy it at a discount that will be able to profit you.
Well, and so for a lot of new people, I think you need to develop the skill of being able to train your team. Right. Yes. So like having your own virtual assistants and like actually leading them. Cause again, I'm really big on leadership, but if you can't lead a team of VAs, when you start getting acquisition agents in-house, what are you going to do if you've like never been in that situation? All VAs are, it's a low level sell. Cold calling is like a really, really low level sell. If you cannot coach people on how to do low level sales, how are you going to coach people to start to do higher and higher? And then like wholesaling is like, you're doing high ticket sales. Like, and you're negotiating backwards on hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't teach people how to do it at a base level, how are you supposed to like do it at the other level?
How do you? I mean, I've been in a lot of leadership positions, but I've never actually thinking about it now. Outside of like the coaching stuff for the VAs, I already have somebody coaching. I don't handle a lot of that. What does that look like?
A lot of it for them, it's like listening to their calls. I'm like, hey, why'd you handle it this way? Let's do this. And then like a lot of it's interpersonal stuff. Cause I mean, most people like they had a bad day at home, then they don't perform. But hey, bro, like we gotta come with some fucking fire every day. I don't care. Like if we do good here, and so the one thing like with our core values, integrity, carry 360, and strive for excellence. I promise you, if you fucking do those things, your life will take care of itself. And so like that's one of the things we preach, right? So you're trying to make them better people overall.
Yeah.
Like hey, if you work hard, I promise you this translates. Because we want you to be a good husband and a good wife too, and a good father, good mother. Like, we're trying to instill all those things in all of them. And then, okay, now they're calling. We listen to their calls. What are your lead counts at? Why was it low today? Why'd you hit it? And then just coaching them on, like, hey, so you said this right here, but let's say this right there. And then you have to know a really big thing is, like, everybody takes feedback differently. So the way I'd coach you would be different than the way I coach you, like, just flat out.
Yeah.
And so you have to be able to develop interpersonal communication skills is the only thing I could say. I think that's the right word. To actually have those conversations with people. If you've never had those, because like giving feedback to someone's hard, listening to calls sucks, right? And then if you aren't used to giving someone feedback and you just come in hot and like, bro, you fucking suck. Like, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Like, but you're not going to get the desired outcome for either of you.
Right.
Because then the person's just going to feel awful.
Right.
Yeah, I remember both of us, or at least when you had first started and before I got my VAs started. I remember your first coaching meeting with them, and I was sitting across from you, and then I think you like mute yourself and you go, "Was that too harsh?" And I was like, "Dude, no, that was literally perfect." And I think that comes from that all those years of doing it yourself and knowing what it feels like to be able to communicate that effectively to, bless you, communicate that effectively to somebody who is still learning, still improving, and doing all that stuff.
And concisely.
Well,
Yes.
here's what I'll say. We always make fun of it, but I was in Scouts, right? So I was in Boy
Same.
Scouts. And I got my Eagle Scout. I was SPL. I went through 18 different leadership positions from Boy Scouts, right? And then I was water polo I was the water polo captain. I did a lot of little different leadership things. And what I learned growing up was that I made a lot of mistakes in leadership. And when I got into business, I looked back and I remember one of the things that I always felt like I didn't do well was I didn't give criticism in a way that allowed the other person to hear it and like actually make the change.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it was I think I just trampled on people's feelings.
Dude, like one of my college defensive coordinators he's one of the worst people I've ever met in my life. But the reason we say that is because he was so derogatory in his coaching, to where like you couldn't take the feedback because like you're probably gonna stab him after practice. Like he was talking
Right.
that crazy. Like,
Even if he had a good point, you weren't going to listen.
If he had a good point, you're still not gonna listen, bro. So that's why it's so big. Because like, you got to know how to talk to people. Because like generally, I'd say as entrepreneurs, we're the hardest on ourselves. And if you talk to people the same way you talk to yourself, everybody's gonna quit.
Right. You almost make
probably talk
yourself quit.
Yeah, like you almost make yourself quit every day. So if you're gonna talk to other people that way, like we got a problem.
So when I got the VAs, I told Kate, I said, my like outgoing expectation and goal is to always give feedback in a way that is uplifting, that still gets the point across. There's a level that you need to be stern, but it's interesting. And so that's been a very interesting fine line. And at the end of every meeting, I always ask people, is there anything that I could do for you? Is there anything I could be doing better? Do you still want to keep meeting on these meetings? Because I don't want to be that guy who
Meets to meet. Who just meets to meet.
Right. And I also don't want any of my employees or people that work for my company feeling like this Scott guy does not care. This Scott guy is a dick. This Scott guy is, he never listens to us. Every time I always ask, hey, what does it look like for you guys? What can I help you with? And I've learned that the only way that I can really lead is listen to them. And then when I give my feedback, be very intentional about positive feedback. Hey, this is what you did so well. Here's one thing that you could change.
Right. And the more you love them, the harder you can be on them. And that was a lesson I got from a really, really good high school rugby coach in Utah. He's won a couple state championships, but he's a really good leader. And he's like, bro, the number one key to all this shit is the more you love your people, the harder you can be on them. Because if you want to create something truly great, you have to have a really high standard that other people aren't willing to hold. And the only way you're going to get that when everyone else, and they can go work for someone else and be fucking mediocre, is if they actually know that you love them and care about them and have their best interest in mind. Because if you don't do that, then they're just going to leave and go work for some other mediocre company that we're going to bury. But you still want to see if you can develop these people, show them you love them, and hey, no, this is just not the way we fucking do things. I'm a little bit more straightforward.
Yeah.
Most of my conversations are hard conversations, but afterwards they always know I love them. We'll always talk. I call them, see how's your family doing, whatever that is. But I'm not afraid to have those conversations to where, hey, bro, what the fuck is happening here? But then this is after they've gotten to know me, they know how I talk.
Yeah.
It's not just coming in first day, hey yo.
Right.
But, having those hard conversations, then you're gonna learn your own leadership style. But for me, I feel like we're very results driven, and number one thing that pisses me off is if you're not doing your job. We can have coaching all the time, but if you're not doing your job, there's just no exception.
Right.
And the more you love your people too, and they love you back, it starts to become like a respect thing too. When your people respect you, and then it's a mutual respect for you the other way too, people pick that up and they sense that. And when there's mutual respect, I think it makes it that much easier to have exactly those types of conversations and have it be received in a way to where they know, it's not coming from you being a dick or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because most of them are hard conversations. You're not generally not having good conversations.
Yeah, I'm not calling you to say, hey.
Yeah, I'm never calling you to say, hey. Generally, if I'm calling you, hey, we got to talk about this shit. Or whatever it is. One thing that I did have to add on to my schedule is just calling people to call people.
Just so they don't get nervous when
they
you
don't
call.
get anxiety attacks when I call them. Right? Because that's one thing. Because I try and be really hands off, but then when I call you, number one, I expect you to pick up.
Yeah.
And number two, you probably fucked up. And it's what's that conversation we're having? But now, if you don't violate our core values, I really don't care. If you messed up, you messed up. That's just us investing in your learning and investing in our company.
Yeah.
But if you violate our core values, then we have an actual problem.
We want to respect your time. Obviously, you have some stuff coming out. It's today, which this podcast means that it was a couple weeks ago. Can you talk a little bit just about what you have coming out, where to find it, what to expect?
Yeah. So we have the Winner's Circle Mastermind coming out. It's a program to where we're going to help business owners grow their revenue, grow as leaders, and then show them all the other different avenues that they can go into as far as like cryptocurrency, e-commerce, all those things. And we'll bring on special guests. I'll talk about what we're doing and really help them grow more. One thing I see that's lacking in our space is business knowledge. You know, like I've had to go to like completely other spaces to like learn what I needed to do to like grow more.
Right.
And so like hopefully we can bring this to everybody at a really affordable rate and change the game. Then I have a leadership course coming out today. That'll be pretty cool. And you'll get access to both of them if you just go to my Instagram.
Stratt Daddy.
Stratt Daddy. And click the link in the bio.
Okay. And Stratt, let's recap. If somebody watching this podcast, I know a lot of listeners and watchers have seen you back in season 1. Someone wants to connect with you, talk with you, and respect your time at the same time. What is the best way for them to go about that?
Send me like actual questions. One thing, we're implementing. Anybody who follows me, I have a message that goes out saying, "Hey, I'll answer all of your questions, but please just ask me questions. Don't say, hey, can I ask you a question? Hey, can I pick your brain? Just like send me a list of questions and I'll get back to you with a voice memo." Because that's the easiest thing. Like I'll see it like, okay, no, don't do that. For that one, I'd probably handle it this way. For that one, I'd probably handle it this way. That's 30 seconds of my time to
ask direct questions.
Yeah, like I want to be able to answer them. Like if it's not a direct question and I can't help you, then like it makes it really hard on me to know like what you actually need.
Yeah, seems reasonable.
Okay. And best way through Instagram, Stratt Daddy.
Yeah, just follow me on Instagram. We check my Instagram at Stratt Daddy.
You want to plug your podcast real quick?
Oh yeah, the Winning Move podcast is my podcast where we bring on different entrepreneurs and real estate investors. I'll give out my cell phone on this. I got 2 phones now.
2 phones.
2 phones. But I mean, it's my work phone. My cell phone is 801-860-8032. If you again, reach out to me with your questions. No, pick your brains. But if you send me a list of questions, I will go through all of them and I'll answer them for you.
If you have listened to this far into the podcast, you have listened to plenty of our podcasts. Every guest that comes through says the same thing. We are all open to sharing what we know. Please just be respectful of people's time and always try to lead with value. Don't ask, how can I give value? That's on you to figure out what skills you have to provide.
Yeah, that's a really big one. Like, don't ask, like, how can I bring you value? Like,
now you ask me another question that I need to solve for you.
Yeah, like, I'm just like, oh, fuck, I don't know. What are your skills?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you are an amazing car detailer, that is a skill. Add value. You know, what skill do you have? Bring that to the table.
But don't be afraid to ask questions and reach out to as many people as you want.
Cool, man. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Dude, repeat guest.
Thank you guys for having me on.
27 years old, running 100+ people, multiple businesses, living the best life. Thank you, bro.
Being the people's guru's guru.
The guru's guru.
Bro, I'm the guru's guru. You guys saw that post, right?
Yes. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for coming to the podcast. We'll see you guys next week.